well, there's not a lot of positives to take out of it. Obviously, to get beaten in the fashion we did, especially tonight, was not good enough from Australian cricket team, regardless of the personnel that we've got here. I mean, the biggest positive I think is probably the way that our bowlers bowled, and especially our spinners bowled on these wickets in these conditions. It's something over a long period of time that we've asked our spinners to be really good in these conditions, and I thought over the 5 games and in the West Indies, they were terrific in conditions that suited the spinner. So I think that was a real positive. The exposure that some of our younger players got to these conditions is obviously a positive going forward, and something that over their career I'm sure that they can look back on and say that they learnt a hell of a lot over, especially this week in Bangladesh. I've played a lot of cricket at international level, and they're certainly the most challenging T20 international pitches that I've ever played on. So, I think they're the positives to take, although there's obviously not many.
We're sending Dan Christian out to open. I guess was the plan just hoping that you could just get someone like him to do what he did in the fourth T20? T20, was that always the plan, or did you sort of change your mind once you knew what the total was?
No, that was always the plan coming into the game. We've had to find some runs somewhere because we've found it so challenging to score at the back end of the innings. Their quicks were terrific at the back end of the innings, and we found it really hard to go at even 5, 6, 7 and over at the back end. So we're looking for some runs with 2 fielders out, some quick runs that is. And we think we thought Dan was the best man to do that after what he did last game. So we got him up there and in early to cash in the power play. It just didn't quite work out for us. But that was certainly something that we had ready to go before we saw the total.
And just finally for me, is this a bit of a wake-up call, I guess, with the World Cup so soon about, where Australia is at the moment, even with the players missing who aren't there?
I don't think it's a wake-up call. I think the reality is we know that we need to get better at spin, and, that's, myself included, there's a lot of players in this team that we need to find a way to score runs in these conditions. We're not asking for big margins. We need to find 15 or 20 runs in innings with the bat more, and if we can bring them down another 5 or 10 with the ball as well, then we'll get ourselves in most of the games in these conditions. But I think going forward, I wouldn't expect the wickets to play like they have here, although we're going to get conditions that may take a little bit of spin in the World Cup, and it's something that we're going to have to look at. We need to get better in that area, and myself included, I need to find a way to be able to do that. But I'm not sure that the pitches will play like they probably have here.
Thanks, Matt.
We'll go back and try Mal again. Mal.
Yeah, I think I'm off mute. Thanks, Cole. Matt, given that you've got the T20 World Cup coming up, and these matches in the West Indies and in Bangladesh were supposed to be essentially warm-up matches, do you think that they were really of any use given the conditions, particularly in Bangladesh, to what you're going to face in the UAE?
I think that the West Indies conditions for sure, Mal, were very, very similar to maybe what we will find in the World Cup. Although the St. Lucia pitch was sometimes a little bit slow, it was still a good wicket. And as I said, we need to find a way to get better against spin in those conditions as well. So I think that certainly the conditions in the West Indies were really good pitches to judge ourselves going forward. As I said, these ones were a little bit challenging, although Bangladesh still found a way to find the extra runs, and that's something that we feel like we can definitely get better at doing that. Unfortunately, we did in this tour. As I said, it's a good learning opportunity for us. That's all we can really take out of it. If the batters can go back and learn from this experience and find a way to get those extra runs in challenging conditions, then that'll hold us in good stead going forward in Australian cricket. But it was certainly a challenge. It's been hard work.
Thank you.
Louis.
Matt, when you look at the balance of the attack tonight and think about 3 spinners, hasn't really been done too often in any Australian team really. When you actually have Stark and Cummins and everyone back for the World Cup, is it a real option, mate, or was it a bit of a novelty for the conditions tonight?
I wouldn't say it's a novelty. If the conditions if we find the conditions are like this going forward, then it's a real opportunity to be able to play 3 spinners. what that looks like, whether that's 2 finger spinners, whether that's 2 wrist spinners, I'm not 100% sure, but I wouldn't say it was a novelty. These conditions were conducive for us to go in with that attack. We played just the one seamer, but we knew that, you know, what Nathan brings with his slower balls would do really well on these wickets. And also, you know, Dan Christian, we felt like we could get some overs out of him. So that gave us the option to play 3 leg spinners. You know, Swep only bowled 2 overs, so you don't have to use all of the spin as well. But if we got conditions like this going forward, then I think there would be an option to play 3 spinners for sure.
And just on the batting, mate, I mean, when you look at the younger batters, the less experienced ones who have obviously struggled in this series, is enough being done to kind of prepare them for conditions like this? I know these were extreme conditions, but is there a bit of a missing link in terms of Australia A cricket or whether it's something else to get these guys up to speed?
No, I don't think so, Lou. I think you've just got to go out there and experience these conditions. I do not blame the younger players one bit. Myself, Mose Enriques, Dan Christian, we're all experienced players and we needed to do better in this series. You know, I'm certainly not hiding behind that. I needed to be better as well. So those guys got the opportunity to come out here and experience these conditions. And as I said, if they take it as a learning opportunity, like we all should be, then to become better players, then, you know, at least we've learned something on this trip. But, I don't blame the younger guys one bit. I mean, what they've seen out here will be very, very valuable for them going forward. But that's more on the senior batting group. We needed to get more runs in these conditions.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Andrew McGlashan.
Sorry, I did Mal's trick there for a minute. Hi, Matt. Just to follow up on that previous answer, are you confident that there won't be any sort of legacy scars from a series like this for some of the younger players when they go back to the home season and feel they have to find their way back into form? Is there sometimes a bit of catching up to do when you've had a series like this for young batters?
No, I don't think so. I think they should look at it as a positive, and I'm sure that they will. If they can find a way, like Ben McDermott found a way to get himself to 30, he got himself another start tonight. A young player like that should take really, really a lot of confidence out of the way that he managed to do that in these conditions, and he should be able to go back and find ways to dominate the spin in our conditions and in everyone else's conditions. So I think that if they look at it as a real positive and take it as a learning opportunity and improve their games, I think that they'll find opportunities to dominate spin in other games. And that's, you know, as a batting unit, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get better at that. And I think these younger players will certainly get better from experience what they have over the last week.
I don't know whether you've kept in touch with any of the guys who didn't make the trip, but as far as you're aware, are you expecting all of them to be available for the World Cup?
I would hope so. Yeah, I haven't been in contact with them and we haven't had discussions around that. But yeah, I expect every player to be available for the World Cup. Absolutely.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Lockie McCurdy.
Thanks, Cole. Hey, Matt. Obviously, not how you guys wanted this series to go. There's been talk about finding some more white ball cricket ahead of the World Cup. Do you think that would be important to get a bit more confidence going into the tournament?
I'm not 100% sure. I haven't heard too much chatter around that. You know, really grateful that we got the opportunity to come away here and get the experience that we have in the West Indies and in Bangladesh. We'll go home and quarantine and then we'll work out what's next. I know there's one day scheduled for state cricket. The IPL will be around as well. So there's going to be opportunities for guys to play white ball cricket. How that looks, I'm not 100% sure yet, but we'll work that out over the next 2 weeks when we get home and work it out through isolation, I'm sure.
Is that your plan, I guess, for after you get out of quarantine, when you return home, just focus on that state cricketing, just get whatever cricket in you can? Yeah,
absolutely. Any opportunity to get a game and white ball game in, then I'm ready to go. So I'll work hard in the next couple of weeks to get better and better and improve things that I know that I need to improve moving forward to the World Cup. And any opportunity I get to play, then I'll jump at it.
We'll go to Bharat and then we'll finish off with Adrian Warren. Bharat?
Thanks, Cole. Hey, Matt, just wanted to know, like, is it almost tough to judge yourself as a team in T20 cricket in a bilateral series when you're preparing for a World Cup? Because it's unlikely that you're going to play the same team over and over again in the same venue where, you know, bad habits can creep in and there could be some scars. That's not going to happen in a tournament. So is it tough tough to judge yourself as a team where you are?
I don't think we judge ourselves as a team. You know, we didn't get the results that we were after here. And as I said, there are only small margins that we need to get better at. So I think it's more of individually over the next few weeks to really sit down and work out ways that we can get better in these conditions. Yeah, I take your point that you're not going to play the same team 5 times in a row on the same pitches moving forward, but we did here and we got an opportunity to learn. You know, they're a terrific team in their own conditions. The spinners bowled really, really well and they found ways to get runs, to be honest. Whether they came a little bit harder at the front end against us is something that we maybe needed to do earlier in the tournament as well. So, yeah, I don't sit here and judge us as a team and say that we're not a good team because we didn't get the result on this wicket against this opposition. But as individuals, I think we all have to self-reflect of ways to get better. In the end, it's up to the player to find a way to get better scores and to bowl better and get the results for Australia. It's you know, that's, if we're not looking at it like that, then we're not learning.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Brett. We'll finish off with Adrian Warren.
Yeah, thanks, Cole. Matt, obviously you've been without a lot of players for this series, and even for the New Zealand series a few months ago, you were without a number of players. I mean, would you like to have a hit out just of some kind together? I know you said you're going to play white ball cricket separately, but would you like to have a hit out with the strongest team prior to the World Cup?
I'm not 100% sure what's happening in terms of our preparation for the World Cup, to be honest. So it's hard to answer that question. But in terms of if you're talking about like Finch and Warner and Maxwell and those guys, it's not vital that we all play games together before the World Cup. We've all played plenty of cricket together. They've grown up together. Finchy, Warner, myself, Maxwell. We've all grown up in the same kind of team. So Steve Smith, guys like that. So you know, and our bowling unit have bowled together numerous amount of times. So I don't think it's the difference between playing well in the World Cup or not is that we have to play games together to know what each other's doing. We all know what we're doing. We've played together for long periods of time now. So whatever happens with our preparation going forward, that won't be an excuse by the time we get to the World Cup.
And last one for me, on the positive side, Josh Hazlewood across these 2 tours has been terrific. I wondered if you've ever seen him bowl as well, as consistently well in white ball cricket as you have over the course of the last month. And also Nathan Ellis's performance tonight, I guess, must have been encouraging too.
Yeah, that is one of the real positives to take out of it. The way Mitchell Marsh played here and in the West Indies was a huge step forward in his international career and a huge step forward for our team. Nathan Ellis got some exposure. AJ Ty bowled really, really well, got back to, you know, the AJ that we know that can play at this level as well. Yeah, there were, you know, Hazlewood's class player. He's been a class player for a long time now. So we've got some real positives to take out of it. Some individuals have got some real positives and should take some real confidence going forward in any international cricket they play now. So, yeah, you're right. They are the real positives to take out of it. And, you know, and to see Nathan do what he did today, I know that he can do that consistently at this level. He was extremely nervous the other night, obviously, in his first game, but the way he settled in at the back end of his first game and then to come out and execute the way he did today was terrific.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adrian, and thanks, everyone, and thanks again to Matthew Wade for joining us tonight. We'll catch all of you guys back home in Australia. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Nice. Thank you,
Thanks,
Matthew.
Matt. Thanks,
Paul.
Cole.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks.